There are many arguments for God's existence, and there are many forms of the various arguments for God's existence. We are going to talk about only a few of them, being an introductory class. If you were to take a philosophy of religion class, you would discuss in further detail the various arguments, or more of the arguments at least. The teleological argument is our first argument. The teleological argument is about design. Teleological comes from the Greek word telos, which means purposeful. So the teleological argument is focused on things having been created with a purpose, things having been designed. The teleological argument, again, comes in a few different forms. We are going to focus right this moment on the analogical argument. There are things, like watches, that seem to be purposefully arranged. We know from past experience that a designer arranged these things. There are parts of the universe, like eyes, that seem purposefully arranged. Therefore, the universe probably has a designer, namely God. This is an analogical induction, or what we called an argument by analogy. Do you all remember what that is? It is an argument where we draw an analogy between two things. For example, watches and eyes, or man-made objects and the universe. We draw an analogy between the two things. We say because something is true of one, it must be true of the other. We draw an analogy between watches and eyes. We know that watches are a product of a designer. Well, since watches are a product of a designer, it is likely that eyes were the product of a designer. So there must be a designer to the universe, and of course, the best candidate for that designer would be God. Does that make sense? So we've drawn an analogy between two things. Because something is true of one, it must be true of the other. Now, when we analyze this argument, we're going to look at whether the premises are true, whether the premises support the conclusion. You remember, I'm certain, that inductive arguments are not the sort of argument where the truth of the premises is meant to guarantee the truth of the conclusion. So we have to look at things like whether the premises strongly support the conclusion and whether the premises are true. Number one, there are things like watches that seem to be purposefully arranged. That seems true enough, right? Number two, we know from past experiences that a designer arranged these things. Again, seems true enough. There are parts of the universe, like eyes, that seem purposefully arranged. The idea behind number three is that when we look around, we see complex things in nature. Okay, the eye is a complex organ. It has many little parts that must work together in just the right way. Well, if the universe has naturally occurring things that have many different parts that seem to have been arranged in just the right way, much like watches do, and we know watches have those parts arranged by a designer, it just seems likely that these parts, these complex parts of the universe, also had a designer. And the best candidate for that would be God. Does that make sense?